welcome to another video of Motor Guy's Life. Today, I'm going to be installing some racing stripes. So these are vinyl blue to match the kind of blue that I've got here. This does look a bit darker because it's on the side of the car, but they are pretty much the same shade when you put them on the car. And I've bought these off of eBay for about £40–50, $60–70 if you will. And unfortunately they don't come with the gap that I want in between, so I want a 1.5 inch gap or thereabouts in between. So I'm going to have to lay these one at a time and do the gap myself with tape going down the centre of the hood here and the rest of the car. This kit does come in 4 sections. Big one here for the bonnet, for the hood, big one for the roof, which I don't need, and 2 smaller ones for the trunk area and the front bumper. So the good thing is, if I mess this up, I do have a spare line that will do me again for the hood if I do a bad job. So I've got these laying flat. I have had them sitting for a while, and as you can see, they're not the best looking at the moment. I'm putting some heat on them to try and get them flat, so depending on how this looks in the car, they might be coming straight back off it. But however, first thing to do is to give this hood a clay bar and make sure there's nothing on it. I have just washed the car yesterday and put it straight back into the garage in preparation for this today. So we give the hood a quick clay bar along the bits where the stripes are going to go, and then we'll mark out our 1.5 inch centre line using this frog tape. Alright, so let's crack on. Alright, so we start off with some multi-purpose cleaner and a little bit of clay, and we shall crack on with the hood. This is pretty clean already. I do take care of it, so it's not going to be such a bad job to do this, but if you're putting on stripes or stickers or decals or anything, it's good to do this in advance because it does make a difference. And I'm not really getting a lot of dirt off of this, which is good, but we still go through the motions anyway. There we are, practically nothing, but worth doing it anyway. Right, then we do it the old fashioned way and measure to the centre of the front and the back of the hood and stick on some tape. Okay, so that took a bit of time. I had to put a centre line right up the middle of the hood as best I could, and a little one up the top there, and I'll continue this one down once I remove the number plate. So it's tough to get a centre line here, so essentially what I had to do is take a few measurements from either side of the hood and make sure they were even all the way up. And at the top here, you've kind of got a bit of a guidance with where the rear view mirror's placed, but I wouldn't bank on it, they're not always dead centre. So this is a bit easier because you can take a measurement from these lines here right all the way across, and that's you. So if you get the kit that comes with a pre-cut line, you don't need to do as much faffing as this. You could just lay the stripes down and then see how they look. So that's what I'm going to do just now. I'm going to lay them on and see how they look. Alright, so I'll give it another wipe down since we're going to faff them out with it. Right, just so we're not stuck with the first pass, we're going to spray the thing with some water. And I've got one little squeegee here to iron out the bubbles. Okay, let's lay it down. this is the first time I've tried this myself, so it is a big job. It probably took me around, I want to say, about a week, but I was doing it only at night times, so doing maybe an hour or two at a time. I'd say you could do it in a full day if you gave it a full day. But yeah, it's turned out pretty well, I would say. So there we have it. That's a good job done. Is it perfect? No, it's not perfect. There's a couple of tiny wee bits that probably only I would notice because I'm the one that installed it. But to anyone coming and just seeing this car for the first time, these look pretty factory in my opinion. So, would I do anything differently next time? Do you know what? I fancy putting gold stripes on it. I've always liked the Shelby GTH look in white, and I do quite fancy gold. Now that I see the blue though, I do quite like it. I did consider changing my emblem here at the front from a red to a gunmetal grey, which I do have, but I don't know. Kind of got the American flag vibe going on, so I might just keep that one there for just now. But yeah, good process to do. Do give yourself some time though. And if you've got a garage, do it inside, because doing it outside is an absolute nightmare with the wind blowing it around everywhere. So a couple of bits and pieces that you saw me doing on camera. The edges, I folded these around, heated them up with a heat gun or the hairdryer, tucked them underneath, because you see that bit from the car, so you don't want to make a rough edge here and a mess. And at the front here, you saw me using the knife edge tape for these lines here. So if you just put one single piece going down this bumper, it would start going off at an angle, because the bumper's not straight, it's at an angle itself. So you have to cut it at the point when it goes off at the angle, this crease here. I suppose if you were picky you could cut it in this crease here, but this bit was fine. And the knife edge tape is underneath it, you give it a yank and it slices the tape perfectly with a nice clean cut line. So, little skill in itself, working with knife edge tape, but it is much cleaner. And I used it at the back here as well. I use it for these crease lines, because again, if you try putting one piece going down here, I just found it goes off at an angle and you can't get it straight and you get wrinkles and you just looks a bit of a mess. So the advantage of that is if a piece of this gets damaged, there is only one piece I need to tear off. And cutting around about this brake light was a bit of a job. So what I did was I heated it up. You saw me pressing in the lines for it, just to give it that angle, and I've wrapped it around the trunk lid panel here and done a singular cut along here, wrapped it around, another wee relief cut in there and wrapped it around here. So as it looks, you don't see the white outline of the brake light. And this brake light is getting thrown away. This is oxidised beyond repair. I've got another one coming in the mail, black smoked one with LEDs, so that'll make that a lot nicer. And I removed this little GPS antenna, whatever the hell it is, can't even remember. I just didn't want the hassle of having to cut round these. Plus a lot of dirt was underneath this, so I cleaned it and placed it back on top, and you get a nice clean line going down the trunk lid. And some knife edge tape along the back here. So perfect 1.5 inch gap all the way. Guess what? I did end up using the bit that was actually for the roof. I ended up making a mess of the front bumper area, and I used most of the stripe that came for the roof to do that bit again. You probably saw it on camera. I did a kind of Battenberg cake effect that wasn't through choice, that was just through necessity. There was a piece that I put on the top there originally, and I removed it completely because it was just bubbling and creased and it had a bit of damage on it. So handy to have a bit of spare. But yeah, it just kind of sets the car off, and too much white in this car at the start of it. And what we're doing next is I do have these lovely, and I like these, my favourite wheels. Get this off out of the way. These are my favourite wheels. I love these bullet style alloys. These are only 17s though, but I got them so cheap here in the UK that I couldn't resist. So I need to get them to a stage of kind of anthracite colour, gunmetal grey, for the spokes, and leaving the edge aluminium or chrome polished. But these have got the old hammer-on style weights on them, so I need to refurb these completely. And I do have wheel spacers as well. So quite like these wheels, but they're sitting really far in on the wheel arch. And these are only 17s as well, but I don't really like them. They're all right, but they're not for me. I like the chunkier looking ones like this. And I love these. These in my last Mustang, and I sprayed them gunmetal grey with anthracite colour for the centre bits and left it chrome, and I put a red lip around the outside as well. Might not do that for this car, but we'll see. So I've got that coming. I'm also wanting to fit an oil catch can, and I want to get some new door cards for the interior. Mine aren't peeling, but you know what I'm saying. If you're a 197 owner, you'll know that these things here just tend to flake off. Not so much in this facelift version, but in the previous one they do. I just think the door cards are a bit bland. So I'm going to do something with them, maybe get red stitched ones in there or something to match. And the rest of the interior is looking a lot better than it did when we first got this car, no doubt about it. So yeah, got a few more things on the go. I know people are not going to like this. I do have a fake hood scoop, big one that sits between those two stripes. I haven't put it on yet because, first of all, it's fake. It's not a real hood scoop, but it does add a nice hump to the otherwise plain hood here. I just debating with myself what to do with the stripes. Will I just have a white hood scoop, or will I have the stripes kind of going over the top of it and continuing that on? Don't know yet. Options are there, but we can figure that one out later. Doing a bit of work on the garage. TV's gone, getting a new one. Need to move everything else around because the new one's a lot bigger. And we're tidying up a little bit here for the winter. This car will spend most of its time in here in the winter. I'll use it on nicer days like this, but it is going to be stored in the garage. I need to clean the convertible top. It's kind of got a little bit of dust on it and stuff. What I'd also like to do, I want to put a new intake on a new air intake onto the engine. I know it doesn't add a huge amount of horsepower, I'll be talking 5 at most, but I might tune this eventually. I might quite fancy the Ghost Cam tune just for the sake of it, but I might tune it to the high octane tune. So I'll maybe get a cold air intake. Also in the interior, CJ Pony Parts have got a really nice starter button kit for this that goes right into that vent cover there, between the two vents, a little 12 volt cover. It replaces that for a push button start, so I might look into getting one of them. If you're interested in Mustang videos, please hit like, please hit subscribe. Lots more to do in this car. I'm getting excited about it again. It is only 3.7, I say only, but these are 305 horsepower from the factory, and the old V6 was 210. In fact, the old GT was 300 straight, so these are pretty good. They don't have the same rumble as the V8, of course. It's getting there, this car. I've got the sound almost to that point, but for a V6, for a daily driver that I use this for everywhere, I've just been to work and back in it. This is good for me just now. Project car, quite fancy having a look out for an S197 GT, the earlier style than this. Ideally a Bullet. I love a Bullet car. I just think they are the best Mustang you can get. I don't know why. I love the old Bullet cars. I love the 68 one. I've got my stuff prepped for it already there. I just love the 08 Bullet. I don't know what it is about it. It's just so plain and mean and menacing looking. I know it's not got the huge horsepower of the GT500, but I don't care. I just love the look of the car and the sound you can get from it. So I'm on the lookout for one of them. Maybe one will come across my way, I don't know. But anyway, let's sign off in this video just now. Hit like, hit subscribe. We'll see you in the next one. Thank you.